Across a narrow stretch of land in Central America, the Panama Canal works its way through tropical rainforests, rising and falling by steps through the high country of the Continental Divide. This engineering marvel is a 50-mile-long waterway linking the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans through the Republic of Panama. By navigating this route, ships can avoid thousands of miles and weeks of travel from the long ocean voyage around South America. Since its completion by the United States over 100 years ago, vessels of every type have made the crossing in more than 1 million transits between the seas. The Panama Canal became a symbol of American military strength as well as the national identity of Panama. It has been said that the canal is the reason for Panama's existence today. But the issue of who should own the canal turned into one of the most contested foreign policy debates in U.S. history.
We bought it, we paid for it, it's ours, and we are going to keep it.
And the emblem of Panama's struggle for sovereignty.
We don't want another 100-year treaty. We want this solved now.
Testing both countries would be the growing pains of Panama's struggle for democracy.
We didn't expect 28,000 troops to drop out of the sky.
And the resistance of Americans who argued that turning over the canal to Panama signaled the demise of U.S. power.
In the United States, it's still not a popular thing to have given our canal away.
In the midst of widespread dispute, why did the United States, one of the most powerful nations on earth, turn over to Panama, one of the smallest and least developed countries, the most valuable waterway in the Western Hemisphere? And how did it happen? The Panama Canal symbolized American ingenuity, determination, and power. America had birthed a new nation in 1903, and a decade later completed an engineering feat that others could not. But as Americans celebrated, some Panamanians bristled against the treaty that created a country within their country.
In the early 1900s, under Theodore Roosevelt, the states basically drafted a treaty on our own terms without consulting any Panamanian. So I saw that the Panamanians were cheated at the time, and they were threatened by Theodore Roosevelt that you have to approve this unfair treaty, otherwise we're going to let Colombia take over your sovereignty again. So it was forced on them.
Panama was caught in an impossible situation. It owed its freedom from Colombia to the United States, but resisted being an American colony. In the 10-mile wide canal zone running through the middle of Panama, Americans operated the canal, based military forces, and controlled the territory as part of the United States. Following World War II, tensions grew from complaints to protests. In 1954, riots erupted over the issue of flying the Panamanian flag. A decade later, a student protest turned into violent riots.
They wanted the canal to be successful. It was their biggest economic asset. So they weren't trying to throw the United States out of the canal or close the canal. They just wanted it to be run on a basis that respected their existence as a sovereign country.
Each administration from Eisenhower on understood that the original treaty of 1903 was unjust, and the relationship with Panama was deteriorating.
But all of them also understood that politically, any step towards making anything that could be interpreted as a concession to Little Panama might be interpreted as a sign of weakness.